Self-Made is a Toxic Myth Part 1. Born in Pennsylvania, Taylor Swift relocated to Nashville, Tennessee in 2004 to pursue a career in country music. She broke into the country music scene after a lot of hard work with her debut album in 2006 and rose to fame with her second album, Fearless. The reality is Taylor comes from family money. Her father, Scott Kingsley Swift, is the descendant of 3 generations of bank presidents and was a financial advisor for Merrill Lynch. Her mother, Andrea Gardner Swift, worked as a mutual fund marketing executive. Great-great-grandfather was Charles Carmine Antonio Baldi, who founded a slew of businesses in the 1800s. Swift grew up on an 11-acre Christmas tree farm. So did Taylor have to work hard to break into the music industry? Probably, but she had the resources to be able to pursue that career full time. No day job, no rent, no bills. Need to jump on a plane to LA or Nashville or New York? No problem.
I have an issue with the way that society glamorizes the rags to riches story. It's this idea that if somebody didn't start from poverty or start from low middle class or even just the middle class, if they didn't start from nothing, well, then we shouldn't respect them and we shouldn't respect their hustle. I've seen a lot of videos bashing Taylor Swift, who, you know, comes from a lot of money historically. I think her ancestors were wealthy and that they were able to use that money to fund her, etc. I see videos coming for Kylie Jenner. And in general, like the people that want to come for all these people, I think that Hollywood and the media over glamorizes the rags to riches story, and that sort of keeps people, how would I say it, below, or it just keeps people lower, because people think, well, I don't come from rags to riches, so therefore I don't come from rags, so therefore maybe I don't deserve to become rich, or maybe that I won't be able to become rich because I don't have that story. I think the media only highlights the story of rags to riches, and it's a big problem because when it comes down to it, wealth is generational.
You said the richest black person in the world, African descent, whatever you want to call it, is from Nigeria, right? He's worth $10 billion. So we're going to tell his story.
Yes.
So he comes from a wealthy family already.
Yeah.
Nowhere near where he is now.
Right.
But he comes from a wealthy family already.
So
that's another thing, too, we have to keep in mind, because even with the whole thing with Kylie Jenner, as far as what's self-made, that was big on the page. And we have to keep in mind that there are black wealthy people, right?
Like his grandfather was wealthy. The wealthiest person in West Africa, I believe.
Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with, we have to get out of that mind. Like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about if your family has money. Right? That's what we should strive to do, to actually leave a legacy for our kids. And it's like we almost like are embarrassed if we have any leg up. I mean, like it's kind of backwards way of thinking.
90% of the wealth in America is passed intergenerationally. 90% of the wealth in America is passed intergenerationally. 80% of the wealth in America is generated through real estate. So there are a lot of middle class white people who don't realize that they come from money because you inherited property. White people were given loans, right? Given loans to buy houses. A lot of people then inherited those houses, and that created wealth for them. So when it comes down to it, wealth is generational. Even the fact that you're in America, you're already more advanced than most people in the world. If you're born in the Western world, most countries in the Western world, you're already more advanced than most people in the world. But before I get into that, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. It really pushes this video out in the algorithm and encourages me to make more videos. This video is brought to you by Brand Video Pro. We help brands and influencers scale their influence and sales. So if that is of interest to you, head on over to our website, click the link down below, and find out how we can help you. And you don't realize the unfair advantage that you have. So, but I'm not saying this to say that we should look down on people that are born in America because they don't know the hustle and they don't know the struggle, because that's the perspective of people outside of America. So I just think that people need to stop glamorizing the rags to riches story. It's a great story. It's amazing. Somebody coming from poverty and making it and becoming successful. What a beautiful story. But that's not the only story. And that's not the only story that should be highlighted. And that's not to say that if you don't come from nothing, you don't deserve what you have built. Because I don't think that anyone can say that Taylor Swift doesn't work her ass off to do what she does, or that Kylie Jenner doesn't work her ass off to do what she does. Because if these people didn't do what they did, they wouldn't be where they are. Kris Jenner she does help her daughter, but Kylie is the one driving that machine. Taylor Swift is the one driving that machine. She's the one singing every day, going through concerts, doing everything. Beyonce too. Her father was a businessman. But nobody can say that Beyonce doesn't work hard. So I don't think it doesn't take coming from nothing. People over glamorize the story of coming from nothing. And that's what keeps people in the poverty mindset. Oh, well, this person isn't worthy. I just think it's silly. I think the takeaway here, what I'm really trying to get at is, if you don't come from money, or if you do come from money, create generational wealth that you can pass on to your children and their children. I love this Bible quote, and it's a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children. What can you do for your children's children to help them build a better future for themselves? Build it for yourself, but build for them also. And I think in this mentality, we just have to stop glamorizing the idea that if somebody doesn't come from poverty, oh well, they don't understand the hustle. Why should anybody have to live in poverty? And don't get it twisted. Just because somebody comes from money doesn't mean that they don't work maybe even 10 times as hard. Sure, we're going to look at people like Mark Zuckerberg, the richest people in the world. They are all self-made, but don't get it twisted. Mark Zuckerberg's parents were dentists. What are the chances, if you really think about the poorest people in the world, what are their chances of becoming the richest person in the world? It's slim to none. Wealth is generational. So the fact that you even live in America in the first place, you've already won the genetic lottery. You're already in the top percentile in the world. Even the poorest person in America is a top percentile compared to the rest of the world. Because you're in this country that has built generational wealth in its geography. And now, from that perspective, you have so many more opportunities to build wealth than somebody living in Nigeria that doesn't have internet access, doesn't even have electricity in their house, doesn't have running water. They spend their days just surviving, figuring out how to go to a well or a river to get water. They spent maybe 5 hours in their day to do that. Something that you just wake up and you turn on the tap. You don't even think about it. So this idea that somebody only deserves wealth based on them struggling or coming from nothing, I think it's delusional, because poverty is, in a way, poverty is about perspective. You might consider yourself poor if you're living in America, but somebody that's living in, the middle of Nigeria, suffering, considers you extremely wealthy because you have access to basic amenities like internet, electricity, water, clean running water. You don't have diseases. So I think that when it comes down to it, I'm just saying that privilege is perspective. Everybody suffers in their own way. It might not have to do with wealth. It might not have to do with anything. And I think that the media needs to stop glamorizing rags to riches stories and giving this narrative that only if you come from nothing do you deserve to come to the top. And that's a lie. Anyone and everyone that works hard and works smart deserves to get to the top. And most people, 90% of the time, get there because they were already they already received that wealth intergenerationally. There's a reason that people come to America to build a life for themselves, because intergenerationally America has set itself up for success. And when you look at other countries, I give Nigeria as an example where it's the opposite. Being in that environment does the opposite for you. And even a fewer percentage of people can actually thrive in those types of countries. So you being even born in America, you're already wealthy compared to the rest of the world. And so now this idea of rags to riches, I don't know. I guess my point is stop diminishing the rich person that became richer, the person that was, maybe they're born millionaires, they're born whatever, and they became richer. Stop diminishing their story, because the next guy who's suffering in the middle of nowhere would diminish your story, complaining that you came from the hood in America and you became wealthy. You came from running water and electricity and basic amenities to becoming wealthy. Oh, well, obviously you got there because you were in America. They could say that about you too. I just think the media needs to stop over glamorizing rags. I mean, glamorize it, I understand. It's intense, but it's not realistic, because most people that create wealth don't come from rags to riches. 90% of them don't. And even someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who's a self-made billionaire, his parents were dentists. His dad was a dentist. His mom was, I can't remember what she was. And to the point about wealth being generational, when you look at the billionaire list, most people that are billionaires, the richest people in the world, most of them inherited that wealth. Anyway, that's my point. Let's stop glamorizing it. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. My name's Kenim, and see you next time. Peace.